Fourth generation of the Swift. What an important model this is for our market, for Maruti Suzuki, and in fact for Suzuki worldwide. Now, styling has to be the first thing I talk about. Take a look at it and straight away you recognize that it's a Swift. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You tell me in the comments, because you know, there was an opportunity, like there is with every new generation of any car, to go in a new direction. This stays very firmly in familiarity space. And so you look at it, you know it's a Swift, but of course it has modern elements. The overall feel of the finish that comes through, first impression, it looks good. The new grille, it's finished in a nice glossy black, does look nicely well built. New DRLs as well, and the new headlamp cluster. You've got fog lights, which apparently not all markets are getting. So that's definitely something for India. We know these things matter. And then I think there's the character line. There's supposed to be this whole wraparound thing that the company is talking about. It kind of goes all the way across the hood and then grows into a very definite character line that runs through the side. Now, the only downside of that is that it almost looks like the hood hasn't shut properly. There is a little bit of a clamshell feel to it. It's supposed to be a little floating. Let's wait and see how it looks in natural light and when the car is moving on the road. Now, alloy wheels only at the top end. Of course, you've got lots of variants on this car. Two-tone finally showing up as part of standard equipment, and there are lots of new colors as well. So the red that you see, signature Swift, has to have a red. So sizzling red is what they're calling it. There is the novel orange and the luster blue. And by the way, it's the blue, the red and the white that get the two-tone black roof option. Besides that, you've got grey and silver that complete the color lineup. Finally, prices. Well, before I get to the prices, why don't I show you the new cabin? Yes, of course, that's been updated too. Now, the cabin feels roomy, and the first impression, it's a comfortable seat. But let's start talking about how it also looks. In terms of design and style, honestly, I expected a little more, because if you see what's happening with the new Swift in other markets, it's a very fresh palette, different kind of materials. Here, well, if you want to look at it very closely, of course, there is a few different textures over here, but then just that overall look, still feeling very similar or familiar. And for me, the big grouse or the big sore thumb is the fact that you still get a very conventional looking instrument cluster. With a car like the Swift that's so young and so sort of with it, and it's supposed to be almost a sort of flagship model for your company. Yeah, it could have been nice to see maybe a virtual cluster, at least at the top end, at least with something different in that TFT screen. I mean, these graphics have been going on since the previous Baleno RS. But you do get the bigger screen now. It's not a 7-inch, it's the 9-inch. It's a carryover from some of the Nexa models. It is the updated system as well, so of course functionality is something we'll test later, but it looks pretty good. Comes with all the telematics, comes with the connectivity as well. Climate control system at the top end, so you've got the toggle switches here for that and a little screen. Overall, the layout and the feel of the materials though is pretty good. You've got rear AC vents now, which is something the Swift definitely could always have used. And finally, I think it'll come down to really how the car drives, because it's not supposed to be about all of this. It's really supposed to be about its sporty, fun nature when it's on the road. Now onto a really important point, safety. It's now standard on the Swift. Yes, Maruti is getting its act together when it comes to offering a lot more of this stuff you care about, stuff that gets discussed a lot. We're talking about the equipment first, ESC, ABS, 6 airbags, 3-point seat belts, standard across the range, not just on the top end anymore, thank God. But elephant in the room, crash safety. There was no mention of it today at the launch, but there was some talk about high tensile steel. Yes, there is now more of it in the new Swift, and 20% of that overall body shell is now made up of ultra high strength steel. So, points in the right direction. What we have to wait for though, of course, is a crash test result. "80 horses on this new Z series engine." Yes, you heard me right, Z series, not K anymore. And Maruti says it's a new engine, one that focuses on performance and mileage. Mileage figures, the claimed ones, are looking really good, but it's that torque figure of 112 Nm that looks very interesting because, well, again, the company says it's trying to go for that typical Swift feel, which means lots of low and mid-range torque. Can't wait to drive it and see if that is actually true. Now let's quickly talk about prices. I said there's lots of variants. You just get an AMT, still no CVT like other markets or a torque converter. That is disappointing, but of course the AMT, they say, has been refined to a large extent. Again, let's wait and see how it drives, but it's just a 5-speed manual. Also a little bit disappointing not to see a 6-speed. And all the prices on your screen, very competitive, though nothing that sort of surprises or shocks you, and certainly not what you would have expected from Maruti from the past. Killer pricing.